Roundtable. Today we are discussing Bill 115 and the Teacher to Student Action. Our guests today are Mr. Dave Weichel and Mr. McCollum with OSSTF, and Bailey Yancey and Sarah MacArthur, who are students here at Harrison High School. Mr. McCollum and Mr. Weichel, can you tell us what your roles are with the OSSTF?
Yep, I am the District South Vice President, so I'm responsible for seeing the members' needs from Parry Sound High School and Almagnum High School.
And I'm the bargaining unit chief negotiator. So every few years when the contract comes up, I usually sit down with members of the board and hammer out a collective agreement.
What exactly is Bill 115?
Well, I guess by title it is the Putting Students First Act. I mean, interestingly enough, the word student appears 3 times in the act, and the word restraint appears over 40 times in the act. So really it's an attempt to sort of curb spending, which in itself is not the worst thing ever. But I mean, from the teacher's point of view, I think it's really just seen as an attack on our democratic rights to collectively bargain.
We see the bill as taking the process of negotiations and cutting them short and putting some of the power to make some of those decisions in the hands of a few people rather than in the hands of school boards and teachers.
What is the ideal outcome of this whole situation?
I think Mr. Weichel might have a different answer. I'm not sure. I would like to say that repealing Bill 115 and allowing us to negotiate a contract without any kind of restrictions placed on us would be the ideal outcome for most of the teachers, I think.
And I would not argue with that at all. I think even repealing sections of Bill 115 would go a long way to fixing the relationship between the government and teachers in the province, and sort of the splash that the students are then getting hit by would go a long way to fix that. Anything that will allow us to go about collectively bargaining fairly without being handcuffed by a process would be a huge step for us.
Has anything like this ever happened before?
No. There has never been such a blatant attack on democratic rights in the province as far as collective bargaining goes. There have certainly been attempts to impose some legislation that would affect people differently, but never ever has the government taken such dictatorial power as they have taken this time.
So you said that Bill 115 was like for the students, or like they say it is?
That is its title. Its title is the Putting Students First Act. But if anybody has taken the time to have a little nighttime reading, if you want to put yourself to sleep with that kind of reading, it really has very little to do with any sort of student achievement or improving marks or improving even your experience in school.
It's putting students first the same way the Ministry of Love was putting love first in 1984.
That's a little English teacher humor for those of you that slip by.
Do you two have any other questions?
Isn't Bill 115 a little ironic then? Like, it's caused so much uproar with the students, and it's supposed to be putting the students first? Like,
Yeah, I think the feeling that I got today from some of the students I spoke to was that they feel in the middle. If any place they're in the middle, and I think they're absolutely right in where they find themselves right now. It's in the middle, and rather than being a priority for either side, it's stuck firm in the middle.
Will the teacher's action go any further than what it has?
I hope not.
No, likewise. It would be nice to say, yes, this is as far as it'll go, but it's one of those things where you can't make any guarantees because you don't know what the next weeks or months are going to bring.
I think any action taken by teachers at this point is going to be really driven by what action the government has taken. We have sort of said we're here, and we'd really like to bargain with our local folks, with the people at the Board of Education. But if the ministry isn't going to let us do that, then we would love to sit and talk with the Ministry of Education. But we're not even being given that opportunity. So largely whatever happens next will be based on whatever actions they take.
Do you think there will be a time where there will be a deal that will work for both sides well?
Again, I hope so. At the end of all of this, we're hopefully going to come to some kind of a deal that actually finally does put students first. Because that's the idea, was to let us do our thing and not have it affect anybody else. It can't go on forever. It just can't. Somebody has to realize that local school board trustees, people who've been elected by people in their local towns, have a duty to bargain locally. And when the government gives that power back to them, I'm sure that it would not take us very long to come to some kind of a deal with our board that would make everybody happy, and the students would be a lot happier as a result too.
And 2 weeks ago, the New York District School Board and our local unit did sit down, and they were able to come to an agreement. But the problem was that, was because of Bill 115, there were certain parameters with the deal that they could negotiate. So we have a history of being able to come to an agreement, and I think that that's why I'm confident that if 115 goes, we can end this.
So just for clarification, what is the purpose of taking away the students' extracurriculars and sports? And supervision, I guess.
Any sort of sanction where a teacher opts to do something or not do something is intended to sort of put some pressure onto administration. And that's a lot of the sanctions that we were doing. First of all, students probably didn't even realize. They saw that the attendance wasn't being taken down to the office or something like that. And it really didn't have much of an impact. So when teachers withdrew their participation in extracurriculars, and I need to be clear on that one thing, is that no teacher has ever said the basketball team is canceled. No teacher has ever said there will no longer be music or drama or field trips. What we've done is withdrawn our participation. Okay? We feel that we are treated in such a way that we can no longer, in good conscience and good faith, continue to provide all of the things that we do. So we continue to provide great classroom opportunities, and we teach and we make sure that everybody gets the credits and everybody graduates. So the withdrawal of those extracurricular activities is really only intended to draw attention to the fact that, hey, there's something really wrong going on here. And we hope that students and parents and community members start to speak up and go, hey, these are important things that are going on. What do we have to do in order to get them to come back?
What are your guys' views on the walkout that occurred today?
I think it's great. I thought it was a great opportunity in my classes to talk to students about the notion of protest. I thought it was also interesting to have the dialogue about exactly why some students were walking out of the building. And well, I think that taking that action and being politically engaged is great. It was also pretty clear that different people had different motivation for it, which is, again, absolutely part of the political, or being politically active. I look at what happened in Seattle, the 2000. Yes, there's lots of people making protests, but then there's also a bunch of people that smash windows and bust things and get sort of sidetracked. So it was nice to see that this was a pretty authentic political protest.
I really like that you guys have and students who participated are sort of taking advantage of that democratic right that you have to speak up and do things that are democratically assigned to you in protest, I guess.